Welcome to the Evolutionary Bridge. Today's video is going to be about whatever arises. A lot of people care what people think about them. But what would your life be like if you didn't care what people thought about you? What would your life be like if you knew what people thought about you, but it didn't bother you as much? How would you live your life differently? How would you live your life the same? What if your weirdness is because you understand something that they don't understand, and they call you weird as a defense mechanism so they can discredit and not take serious something that you have a deeper understanding of? Or what if you're just weird? I spent a lot of my life being afraid that people would think I was weird. I've made many videos throughout the years for YouTube, Instagram, and I'd play them back and I would just think to myself, oh, this is weird. I look very calm on camera. I look like I'm deep in thought. I have pauses when I talk. Oh, many people are going to think that I'm weird. People are going to think I'm crazy because I'm not fitting in with the norm and what's expected on these different platforms. Or I go into public and I feel like I could feel some people staring at me because I'm way more calm than what's expected in a situation or just in general. Oh, I feel so weird. And I had this story that would go on in my head. It's a common story that many people have. And it goes something like, oh, I'm so weird. People look at me like I'm crazy. They look at me with a confused look on my face. Oh, I have to say things a certain way so they don't get a wrong impression of me. I had to behave in a certain way so I can look more normal. Oh, they think I'm so weird. I know it. And the more I did that, the more weird I felt, and the more stressed I felt, and the more confused and doubt in myself I experienced. And I mean, let's be real with each other. I am a little weird. And you're probably a little weird too. You probably have your quirks. You might have certain interests or niche interests that you're interested in. And it's kind of funny. Because like, a lot of times what makes us feel weird is something we don't have any control over because it's authentically a part of us. And it's similar to like someone who is really tall, but they don't want to be tall. Or someone that's really short and they don't want to be short. I mean, yes, you can kind of change your personality here and there. And it might help a little bit. You might gain skills, but you're still going to have a little bit of you that feels weird. Conventional therapy will say that you need to change the way you think about yourself. Try these exercises. That helps for some people. That helps for a lot of people. But what if it doesn't work for you? What do? You may try learning about holding your body different ways. So you look in the mirror before you do a presentation and you're just doing all these different postures and everything, trying to optimize yourself to give a presentation. And you become more stressed from the show that you're putting on in the mirror than you initially did with the presentation that you were that you were thinking about. I mean, I've tried many different things to not be as weird, to fit into the social norms. And I feel that it's important to fit in, but more of like a functional fit. Not a fit where you disregard so much stuff about you just to fit in and conform, but a functional fit that's necessary for the context and the environment will still keep in some of your authenticity within yourself and within what you're needing to do. I found for myself, and maybe this will work for you, maybe it won't, just a different perspective, that when I started accepting that I was weird, that I was different, it made it easier. How did it make it easier? Well, I became less stressed. I felt like I had to perform less. People that knew me for a while, they, of course, try to pull me to where they thought I needed to be, with the version of myself that they were comfortable with. They tried to do that, but eventually the ones that were important enough or, that cared enough, they stayed. And I mean, it's a tough thing, change, right? Because you're not just changing a behavior or an aspect of yourself. Whenever you try to change one little thing about yourself, it has a web of other things around it. So let's say you feel weird and you feel like everyone thinks you're weird. Okay, that's one part of the web. You start to work on that and trying to be more expressive, more comfortable in your own skin. And you start to feel that web out into, you start noticing how you hold your body more, and that you always held it a certain way, but you didn't realize it because it was subconscious. And you start to work on that and just be aware of that. Like, oh, I hold my leg weird and I hold my arms weird. When I talk, I emote a certain way and I make certain facial expressions, and the web gets bigger and bigger and more complex and more quirks and stuff come into your awareness, and you thought in the beginning, oh, I'm just working on not being weird so I can fit in more. And then you start to notice that not only do you have these mannerisms that you realize look a little different, but you start to look at your beliefs about stuff or the way you structure sentences when you're talking to somebody. And you start to learn more and more about yourself that you weren't oftentimes anticipating when you set off on this goal of being less weird. And it just expands more and more. Change. That's why change is tough. Because in a sense, you're trying to be a new version of yourself. And that new version of yourself that you're working towards means that you have to change and figure out a way to think differently and feel differently and behave differently. And emotional triggers will come up, and you have to figure out how to navigate that and how to accept those and all these different things. And you could even try to take a shortcut and say, I don't need to change myself because I'm one with everything. It's all a game. Yeah, I had that spiritual awakening. It's all a game. I don't need to change myself. But in the relative domain of life, there is changes that sometimes you need to make or that would be more beneficial. For example, let's say there's someone that you care about, and you start to realize that your communication style and their communication style are different. You like talking about abstract stuff. They like talking about rational, logical stuff. You realize that your communication styles are different, right? So you have to figure out a way to, if you want to take that effort and you find enough value in that relationship, you want to help the other person communicate with you. So with that takes change. Or you see some neuroses or defense mechanism or trigger within yourself that is causing you stress and conflict or avoidance of certain topics or situations or people, and you notice that it's just causing havoc in your life. Even though it's all a game in the absolute sense, and relatively you're a person with a job title and a communication style and all these different things, even though you have that awareness, you're still, this situation is still causing struggles in your relative life. So it's best to address those. Even if you consider yourself enlightened, or you have that experience of a non-dual pure awareness where most of your thoughts are gone, you're still going to have things that come up. It's things you have to work on. Things will be brought into your awareness that bring clarity, where it's like so uncomfortable where you're like, yeah, that was very 4K of my problem and how I'm getting in my own way. Let me try a different approach. Because if you just say, I'm too woke for this, you're going to go into spiritual bypassing. So you may be watching this video and think, oh, this person, Caleb, is talking about spiritual awakening and wokeness and relativity and this, all this stuff. So he might be thinking that he's awakened and everyone else is asleep. And so he's going to judge everybody. But what if I'm not? What if I'm saying that what I judge in other people is really a reflection of stuff that I need to work on? And not only do I see that in myself, but also ask it if you see it within yourself. So all the things that you've seen and heard about on the internet, what you'll see in my videos and how I approach things and talk about things, you're going to think the direction is going one way. And there's sometimes I'm going to veer in a different direction than you're expecting. Not because I'm doing it intentionally, but because the way I'm looking at a situation is different than how a lot of people are looking at it. So I can give a different perspective. Doesn't mean I have all the answers, because I don't. If you have a question about a mathematical formula, don't come to me, please. Go to someone else that's actually passionate about mathematics. I'm not. I see there's value in it, but I'm not passionate to talk about it, to talk about all of the mathematical formulas and stuff like that. That doesn't interest me. And nor should I have all the answers, nor should I think I have all the answers either, because that would make life very dull and boring. If I thought I had all the answers and I was the most sophisticated, enlightened person, I wouldn't try to grow or learn anything from anyone else or even from my own self. So, yeah. I already forgot what this video was about. And that's okay. It'll come to me. Or it won't. So ultimately, are you okay with being weird? Are you okay with being different? Are you okay with not fitting in? Because when you care so much about what other people think about you, that's when you make a lot of mistakes and you fumble over yourself. But what if you were actually excited and were accepting of your quirks and what makes you different? How much value can you give to the world? Even if it's not starting a business or doing anything that society would see as successful, what does success mean to you? Because whatever you're doing when you're doing it, if it doesn't feel meaningful to you, it doesn't matter if it seems successful to others. And if you do feel like it matters, eventually you'll see that it doesn't, and it just has caused you a lot of stress. But that's it for this video. Take care.